sometimes I feel like sugar is out to get me. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to eat clean, only to find out that something I thought was healthy was secretly loaded with sugar. It's frustrating because as someone who deals with health anxiety, I'm constantly looking for ways to reduce my risk of disease and feel more in control of my body. And hidden sugars, those sneaky, unnecessary calories that hide behind fancy names, make that goal so much harder. But once I really started understanding where sugar hides, how it affects my body, and what to eat instead, I noticed something incredible. My mood, my energy, and even my anxiety all improved. I used to think sugar was just about cavities and weight gain, but there's so much more going on under the surface. Every time I'd have a sugary snack or drink, I'd get this short burst of energy, followed by a crash that left me jittery, foggy, and sometimes even panicky. At first, I thought something was seriously wrong with me. I'd feel my heart pounding, my thoughts racing, and immediately jump to the worst-case scenario: heart problems, diabetes, something terminal. But it wasn't a medical emergency. It was my blood sugar roller coastering up and down. And for someone with health anxiety, those feelings can trigger an entire spiral of worry. That's when I started taking a hard look at my diet. Not just the obvious sweets, but the everyday foods I never realized were loaded with hidden sugars. I'm talking about foods like granola, salad dressings, protein bars, yogurt, even pasta sauce. The truth is, sugar hides under dozens of names. Things like evaporated cane juice, malt syrup, rice malt, agave nectar, fruit juice concentrate, and the classic high fructose corn syrup. And even natural-sounding ones like honey or maple syrup can be just as problematic when used in excess. My new rule became simple: if it ends in OC, it's probably a sugar. Glucose, fructose, dextrose, sucrose, all of them can spike your blood sugar and mess with your energy, mood, and focus. Once I realized how widespread the problem was, I started reading labels religiously. Every package seemed to have added sugar, even things labeled healthy or organic. But then I started feeling empowered. It was like I had decoded part of a hidden language. I learned that the grams of added sugars on the nutrition label matter more than the total sugars, because some foods, like fruit and dairy, naturally contain sugar in the form of fructose or lactose. What you want to avoid are those added sugars that provide calories but no real nutrition. For me, this wasn't just about losing weight or having more energy. It was about calming my nervous system and feeling more stable mentally. Every time my blood sugar spiked and crashed, my body interpreted it as a threat. My adrenaline went up, my heart raced, and I'd feel anxious for no reason. Once I stabilized my sugar intake, those episodes became less frequent. I felt more grounded, less panicky, and more in control of my body's signals. It's amazing how something as simple as balancing your blood sugar can have such a profound effect on your mental health. Now, avoiding hidden sugars doesn't mean giving up on flavor or enjoyment. It just means being more intentional about what I eat. For breakfast, I used to grab a healthy granola bar, thinking it was a smart choice. But many of those have 12 to 20 grams of sugar in a single bar. Now I go for Greek yogurt with no added sugar, toss in a handful of berries, and sprinkle some chia seeds or cinnamon. It's delicious, keeps me full, and doesn't send my blood sugar on a wild ride. Instead of processed desserts, I'll go for fruit: an apple with peanut butter, a banana with almond butter, or a few pieces of dark chocolate that are 85% or higher. For lunch and dinner, I've started paying attention to sauces and dressings. So many of them are sugar traps. Barbecue sauce, ketchup, teriyaki, sweet chili. These can all have several teaspoons of sugar per serving. Now I make my own dressings using olive oil, vinegar, mustard, and spices. It's simple, but it tastes fresh and actually supports my health instead of undermining it. I used to think juice was healthy, especially things like orange juice or green juice blends. But when I looked closer, I saw that a single glass can have the same sugar content as a soda. So now I mostly stick to water, sparkling water, or herbal teas. If I want something flavorful, I'll infuse water with lemon, cucumber, or mint. It feels refreshing without the sugar spike. And coffee, yes, I still drink coffee, but I've ditched the flavored creamers and sugar packets. A splash of whole milk or a touch of stevia does the trick without sending my body into chaos. One of the hardest lessons for me was realizing that my sugar cravings weren't just about willpower, they were biochemical. Sugar lights up the same reward centers in the brain as addictive substances. So the more I ate, the more I wanted. Once I cut back, I noticed my cravings faded over time and my taste buds adjusted. Foods that used to seem boring now taste naturally sweet and satisfying. The less sugar I eat, the less I want it. My anxiety feels easier to manage because I'm not constantly dealing with energy crashes and adrenaline surges. There's also a huge link between sugar and inflammation, and inflammation is one of those words that triggers every hypochondriac's alarm bells. Chronic inflammation has been tied to everything from heart disease and diabetes to dementia and cancer. That's enough to send anyone with health anxiety into a spiral. But cutting back on sugar is one of the simplest ways to calm inflammation in the body. And that, for me, translates to fewer health worries. Every time I choose real food over processed sugar, I feel like I'm stacking the odds in my favor. So what do I eat instead? Mostly whole, unprocessed foods. Protein-rich meals with healthy fats and complex carbs. Things like eggs, chicken, fish, beans, quinoa, sweet potatoes, and lots of vegetables. When I eat this way, my blood sugar stays steady, my mood stabilizes, and my body feels nourished instead of drained. I also make sure to include fiber-rich foods because fiber slows down sugar absorption. Foods like oatmeal, flax seeds, and vegetables are great for that. If you're just starting to cut back on sugar, my biggest advice is this: don't try to eliminate everything at once. That can backfire and lead to intense cravings. Replace one sugary snack or drink per day with a better option. Read labels and get curious, not judgmental. Every small change adds up, and the more progress you make, the more motivated you'll feel. Now, when I go through the day without that mid-afternoon crash or that anxious, jittery feeling after eating, it's such a relief. I feel like I've reclaimed control over my body in a way that directly eases my health anxiety. Because when I'm not constantly battling sugar spikes and dips, I can actually trust what my body is telling me. And for someone like me, that sense of stability is everything. Cutting out hidden sugars isn't just about physical health, it's about mental peace. When I nourish my body with real, whole foods and skip the sneaky sugars, I'm not just lowering my risk for disease. I'm also quieting that voice in my head that's always looking for something to worry about. And that's worth more than any dessert could ever give me.